So, just about to start my 4th backpacking trip here in Yosemite National Park. I'm here at Glacier Point, which is the most crowded place in Yosemite. And I'm going to be going to Red Peak Pass, which is one of the more obscure places in Yosemite. It's a little bit funny. I really do find it quite funny that I'm beginning this very solitary hike at such a crowded spot. Even as I entered the park ranger at the entrance station noted to me, "Oh wow, Red Peak Pass. You do not get a lot of people going there." Sorry if that intro was a little bit rushed or poorly done. I was a little bit uncomfortable there at Glacier Point with so many damn people. But over here at this little overlook, you can see basically my entire route. I'm going to be hiking down from Glacier Point and then up Illilouette Creek. Right there is Illilouette Falls. It's not super heavy flow, but good enough for me in terms of water supply. You can see up the canyon here, and I'm going to be going all the way to Ottoway Lakes and then eventually to Red Peak and Merced Peak, the former of which is that red peak there, believe it or not. See Mount Hoffman there, as well as North Dome. There's Mount Star King and a couple of round friends of his. I've come about 4 miles so far, and it's now time to cross Illilouette Creek. It's not much of a creek crossing in terms of difficulty, but I will have to get my feet wet. Look at the way that boulder is balanced. Also, there are just so many unnamed beautiful domes and mountains in Yosemite. And there's my stuff. A very beautiful trail. I'll see you around. Yeah. Oh. I have finally found a place to camp. Let me set up my tent. I am finally at camp. Took me quite a while. I am somewhere along the Illilouette Creek, in between a lateral glacial moraine. I'll show you the map tomorrow. I'm pooped right now. I started later than I wanted to, around 2 p.m. and it's currently 8. I hiked, I think, about 10 miles, but I'm gonna have to check it later. Right now, I'm just focused on getting some dinner. I'm super hungry, and then I'm gonna go to sleep. One thing that happened on the way up here, though, is I met a guy named Ethan, and it's an interesting way that I met him because I was hiking along, and I hear this rustling in the, on the side to the left, and I look, and there's a little bear, and the bear's like scampering away really fast, and I break out my my camera to try to film it, and it was a pretty small bear. It looked like maybe a cub, so as I break out my camera, I'm saying, hey, if there are any other bears around here, I'm here too, just because I didn't want to end up in between a cub and its mama without the mama knowing and then getting, mauled by a bear. So as I say that, this guy says from behind me, hey, is there a bear? And I turn around real quick, and it scared the crap out of me because I was really on edge from seeing the bear and not knowing if there was going to be a mama bear nearby. So, interesting way to see a fellow hiker. In fact, it's the only other hiker I've seen so far on this trail since I left the Glacier Point area. It's indeed an obscure part of the backcountry. I'm gonna go to sleep. Good night. If any bears are around, I'm here too. Oh, Good morning. It is about 7:30 a.m. But it's still kind of dark right now because I'm in a pit. As I said, I'm in a glacial moraine. Today, my goal is to hike to Upper Ottoway Lake, and I'll show you my whole plan on a map in just a moment. Let me just break down my tent. So here, once again, is my map. Started here at Glacier Point, and my entire route consists of me going from Glacier Point down and then up Illilouette Creek all the way to Lower and Upper Ottoway Lakes. It's probably about 16, 17 miles from Glacier Point to Ottoway Lakes. I hiked about 9 or 10 yesterday, so I've got 6 today, but with 2,000 feet of elevation gain. Ultimately, my goal is to summit 2 mountains by Ottoway Lakes. One is Red Peak at 11,700 feet. The other is Merced Peak, which is just about 20 feet higher on the other side of the basin. So those two would consist of my first off-trail summits while backpacking. So pretty exciting. I'm not sure if I'm going to do both of them. It'll depend on kind of how strong I feel and how fatigued I am, because this is already a pretty strenuous trip for my standards. There's a glimpse of Red Peak there as I approach Merced Pass Lake. Still a long way away, but I'll be underneath that tonight. At long last, I've made it to Lower Ottoway Lake. Hiked about 6 miles and 2,000 feet elevation gain to get here, and it's exactly 2 p.m., which means that it's been 24 hours since I left Glacier Point. It's been a good amount of hiking, but I feel strong still. I'm optimistic about my goals. Yes, that is Merced Peak, which I haven't been able to see up until now. Let's see if we can get a closer view of it. It's that one. It's the far peak there. Looks pretty daunting from here, but I know it's only class 2, so it's within my capabilities. Right there is Red Peak, which hopefully I'll be summiting tomorrow. This is sort of just the first place that I came to stop and rest because I was very tired and hungry. Got some Idahoan mashed potatoes here. But I think since I have 6 hours until sunset, I'm gonna go explore around the lake just to try to find the very best campsite. Let's have a quick look at this map while we wait for sunset, shall we? So, I started today down in this glacial lateral moraine, and I've made my way up Illilouette Creek, past Lower Merced Pass Lake, up and up all the way to Lower Ottoway Lake. So, my plan for tomorrow is going to be to make my way to Upper Ottoway Lake, and from there I'm going to set up my tent and then go up Red Peak Pass and then off trail it to the summit of Red Peak, which will be about 2,000 feet elevation gain once again. By the way, it's very beautiful here. sun has set and it treated me to a beautiful alpenglow. For now though, it's time to go to sleep. I've got some mountains to climb. Good morning, and what a morning it is. The reflection here is beautiful. I'm going to pack up my stuff though and head to Upper Lake, which is going to be about 800 feet climbing in about a mile and a half. Enjoy the view. Eric Excelsior, ever upwards. Can you see the pika? I've made it to Upper Ottoway Lake, or at least the smaller of the two. I stashed my stuff right there because I am about to summit Red Peak, or at least attempt to do so. Already come up 800 feet and I've got another 11 or 1200 to go. There's Red Peak on the right. It's my destination. I'm going to be following Red Peak Pass Trail up a few hundred feet more and then departing it to make the summit bid. Well, I'm dumb. I've been misidentifying this as Red Peak the whole time when I just double checked my map, because didn't seem to make sense where the trail was going. And Red Peak is behind that pillar. Back there's where I started. Right there. I've climbed up these many switchbacks, and it's now time to make a bid for the summit. I'm a little bit nervous, to be honest. The trail is, well, not trail, the route is pretty loose, but I'm going to be careful. This has been not too bad, but it is a true route finding challenge. Every step has to be taken very carefully, because the last thing that I want to do is create a big avalanche, or to knock one boulder down onto my lower foot, which would be pretty bad. I'm making progress though. I have to plan both long-term route and very short-term route though at the same time. It's taxing both physically and mentally. These two fellow hikers were just gawking at me too. I'm sure this looks insane. Made it past the first tower. It's much better now. Got these big boulders instead of the tiny little ones and sand. Just to prove that I was here. As you can probably tell, I have summited. Wow, it is amazing up here. And look at that. What's that? It's Half Dome. But the dome side of it. You're used to seeing the half side. Wow. You You can see a tiny bit of North Dome too. There's Mount Star King, Sentinel Dome, and out there's the top of El Cap. It's funny because my very first backpacking trip, solo, end of this summer, was to the top of El Cap there. And I was looking through my binoculars at the mountains in the high country, and I saw this red peak and this gray peak that looked really, really cool. And I thought, wow, what are those? I had service up there, so I looked them up on my phone, and it was Red Peak and Merced Peak. And I thought, well, maybe I can get to them. And I looked at my map, and it looked doable, so there on El Cap with my phone, I booked wilderness permits for this trip. You can also see what is normally Yosemite Falls. Now, looking back from where I came, that's the ridge I was on, as well as the towers from the other side. You can't see upper or lower Ottoway Lake from the summit, but I know I will be able to from Merced Peak, so I'll save it for then. Speaking of which, that right there is Merced Peak. I will be summiting that tomorrow if I feel good enough, and if the weather allows. Now, looking to the east, we have Mount Ritter and the minarets. The minarets are there on the right. And there's Mount Ritter. Hopefully I'll be seeing those on a trip later in September. Also to the east, you can see Mount Lyell and Mount McClure, as well as into the Merced River Canyon, and finally into the North Yosemite backcountry. I'll be going through this area, Vogelsang, on a future trip. And out there, you can actually see Mount Conness, which I was just at a few days ago. Oh, by the way, did I mention there's a massive drop right here. Just give you a quick look around. I'm looking through the summit register. I'm going to sign it, of course, but the most recent signee is from 2013 that I've found, and this thing looks pretty beat up. Not really sure what's up with that. That out there is Tower Peak, which I also might summit in October perhaps. And you can just glimpse Mount Hoffman behind Gray Peak. This place is just so magnificent. I can't bring myself to leave. Been here for like an hour and a half, 2 hours at least. But I'll go soon. I gotta go eventually. Okay, I'm making my way down. There's the ridge. I'm not sure I'm going to take too many videos besides maybe stills, because most injuries happen on the way down. There's Lower Ottoway. That's where I camped last night. Woo! Finally made it back to the trail. Oh, it's so nice to be on something that's graded and isn't going to topple over and break my lower leg. Woo! Little marmot. Welcoming me back to camp. I'm almost back. I'm gonna take my stuff and go down to the larger of the upper Ottoway lakes and find a spot to camp. I am exhausted. I'm back with all my stuff on and I need to find a camp spot now. It is unbelievable that that spire was the start of my summit bid. My goodness. So I just took a shower, which consisted of me wetting my hair and then washing it off with soap, biodegradable soap. I am at, God, I can't even think, I'm so tired. Upper Ottoway Lake. There's Merced Peak right there. Oh, I need food. I'm so hungry. It's really pretty here though. It is just so barren here, and I feel very alone, and not in a bad way per se, just It's weird. That's the same mountain that's towering above your head to the right side at Lower Ottoway Lake. It was crazy. At Red Peak, I was way above it. Now that is some beautiful alpenglow on Merced Peak. I'm going to try to muster the energy to climb that thing tomorrow. The tall one on the left. We'll see how I feel. For now, it's enough to admire it from a distance. And look who chose to show up just now. Mr. Moon, glad to see you. As I look over Lower Ottoway Lake and a beautiful sunset, that concludes day 3, and what a day it was. I will see you tomorrow morning. Good morning. I am packing up my stuff, getting ready for a summit bid of that behind me. It is very cold right now because I'm at 10,500 feet, but it should warm up here in a minute as soon as the sun crests the basin here. I had a pretty good night's sleep, but I kept getting woken up by these critters. These little things kept running around my tent and were like clawing at it and stuff, and they woke me up, and I kept saying, "Get out of here, critters!" and like flapping the tent, and they'd run away. They'd come back after like half an hour or so though. So I kept getting woke up. Not really sure what they were after because I didn't have any scented items in my tent. Besides me, I guess I'm pretty scented right now myself, but they don't usually go for human unless they're like man-eating marmots or something. Anyhow, it is 6:30 a.m. I'm planning to get an early start on Merced Peak, if only because I have a lot of hiking to do after the summit and descent. So I'm trying to get that summit early so that I can get as far as possible
to minimize the amount of hiking I have to do the final day. As I wait for my breakfast to rehydrate, let me just show you my approach. So my plan is to make it over this little rock and then around the lake on these granite slabs, then across that scree field, and then eventually up these granite slopes all the way to Snow Pass, then up to the full summit, then around the back to Merced Peak. Pretty amazing early morning reflection. Can you hear that? That's a creek underneath this talus. There's a surprising amount of life up here because of the snow melt there. It's very green. It's probably the greenest it's been so far on this trip, at least where it's not sheer rock. It's very pretty. I have a long way to go though. I made it to Snow Pass. Supposedly there's a register here. I'm going to try to find it, but in the meantime I'm kind of preoccupied with the route ahead. It looks pretty daunting, but I know it's class 2, so let's get to it. That's what I've come up. It was actually a little bit difficult to route find. I thought it would be pretty straightforward, but there are a lot of ridges that I couldn't see over And so I'd crest that ridge and then find out that it was not the best way. So I had to do a lot of up and downs actually. Now it's just up. My goodness. Also, I found the summit register, or the pass register. Not even sure why there is one, but there it is. Upon closer inspection, this is not actually a register. This is a Ultra HD infrared sensor camera from the Department of Fish and Wildlife, California. I wonder what it's for. Maybe they're trying to track some kind of endangered animal. Or perhaps they're tracking me. Dun dun dun. I was getting a bit worried down at the pass, but it is class 2. As long as you know how to route find pretty well. Summit post says to go left into this gully here, which I think this gully, it's hard to tell, but this is the pretty obvious route. Down there is Snow Pass. I am now on the sub peak, getting ready to actually summit Merced Peak there. I'm not going to do this traverse because that would be crazy. Instead, I'm going to down climb a bit and then go up the backside. I finally made it to the summit. Woo! Oh, there's tons of flies here though. I don't know why. So I'm gonna go somewhere a little less buggy, maybe just off the peak there, to do some filming and shooting. I'm a little ways off the summit and the flies are mostly gone. Still a few here and there, but I don't know what's up with that. Anyhow, we have a beautiful, beautiful view of Ottoway lakes here. There's the one that I began today at, and maybe you'll even be able to see where I camped, right there in between the two lakes. Lower Ottoway Lake is where I camped 2 nights ago. Cannot believe I was all the way down there. I was on that smaller peninsula, not that one, but the one right there in the middle. Believe it or not, that's a peninsula. Not sure you can even see the water on the other side of it, but that's where I camped. Looking across at Red Peak, that is what I summited just less than 24 hours ago. I went up to Red Peak Pass, which is where those pillars are. Went underneath that pillar there, and then went all the way up that loose rock to the summit. It's kind of crazy looking at it now. I cannot believe I did that. But I also can't believe where I am right now. My goodness, I'm really high up. And looking towards the west, you can see all the way to the Central Valley. There too is El Cap, where I first saw Merced Peak. That is the top of El Cap before it becomes what you know of as El Cap. That's the dome right there. And of course it's just gorgeous looking out into the high country. Just wow. There's no wind up here on the summit, unlike Red Peak where I had to do takes between wind gusts. It is totally calm and peaceful. I already showed you the minarets yesterday, and Mount Ritter as well. But there they are again. And then, looking back to the south, is stuff we have not seen before. I was not able to see this from Red Peak because Merced Peak was blocking it. Look at that distant little canyon. And the backside of Merced Peak, I mean, look at that. Look at that little meadow. How many people do you think have been to that meadow? I would guess maybe 0. Maybe one or two. I don't know. See some beautiful granite domes out there. Lastly, I can see Balloon Dome, which I've seen many times on Google Earth just looking around, but there it is. It's my first time seeing it in person. Can also see mountains just way out there. Who knows what those are? This one actually has a proper register placed almost 1 year exactly before I was born. So I'm here now for you. It's what I've been waiting for all my life, I guess. I'm looking through the summit register. This guy, Matt Yossi, who says, Turtle Power. All alone today, but meeting friends tomorrow for Star King. Absolutely perfect weather on one of the longest days of the year. Solstice was yesterday. On to Triple Divide Peak, then lake swims galore. Well, let's see if I can flip the page. Just 2 years later, from Chris Henry, San Mateo, California. Rest in peace, Matt Yossi. Turtle Power. I wonder what happened to him. Turtle Power indeed. A bit of a somber note perhaps, but a reminder of what I'm doing. This is not without its risks. And indeed, there is quite a drop here. I'm the third person this year to summit Merced Peak, and the first one to do so in about a month. It's been amazing, but it is now time to hike all the way back down to upper Ottoway Lake, get my stuff, and then hike as far as I can back to my car. Not gonna make it today, but I'm trying to get some distance in so I don't have to end up hiking like 15 miles the final day. Final note before I descend, and I won't be doing any filming then because I just want to hike. Done enough filming for sure. I'm at about 11,600 or 700 feet right now elevation, and the lowest point on this backpacking trip was exactly 6,000 feet. So do the math. That's a lot of descent, and it has been a lot of ascent. Woo! Just got past Snow Pass, and I can't help but notice the glacial moraines. Look at this one. Very obviously there was a small glacier here, probably at the last glacial period. But then you have, of course, this entire basin was at one point glaciated, but you have another moraine down there, and then as I pointed out before, where I slept the first night is its own lateral moraine. You can see the edge of it there. I have finally made it back. My God, I'm exhausted. I took this longer way this time across all of that talus and all the way around, only because the shorter way, which I went on the way there, had some interesting sort of class 3 moves that I wasn't prepared for, and which I kind of don't want to admit I attempted instead of going back. So I chose the longer, more heinous route in order to not get hurt. I figured it would be a little bit silly to get hurt now after all that. Now I just have to hike back. Oh, I'm tired. I am back at Lower Ottoway Lake. My goodness, I cannot believe I was just at the top of that. It really boggles my mind. I wonder if anyone could have saw me from down here. Anyhow, I have to say goodbye to Merced Peak, and kind of already have said goodbye to Red Peak. I thought that was Red Peak for the longest time, but now I realize you can't actually see it from Lower Ottoway Lake. I don't think I'll be doing any fancy filming the rest of today or any of tomorrow. I really just want to hike. I have a long way to go. I am just completely exhausted, and the back and forth shots of me walking the trail, however nice I think they are not very appealing right now because of the extra distance you have to walk because of it. It's the exact same trail going back as it was coming here anyway, so if you want to see what it was like, I guess you could just play the video backwards or something. I have found myself a campsite. I have been hiking all day, and I'm ready to lie down. On top of that, I have a nice view of Mount Starking there, and it's round friends. So since I last saw you at Lower Ottoway Lake, I've hiked 5 miles and descended about 1,800 feet. I'm at elevation 8,000. It's hard to believe that earlier today I was at Merced Peak, which is at 11.5. If you include all of the ups and downs though, both on trail and off, I don't know, I'd say I probably descended about 4,500 feet today and went up about 2,000 feet, which I don't know, for some people might not be a lot, but that is a lot for me, especially with the pack on and or off trail. So I am pooped. I'm gonna go to bed. Good night. You know, there were a few times at night during this trip where I was setting up camp and I just felt really daunted at the task ahead, at how many days there were, at the peaks I wanted to climb. I don't know, I kept thinking of home and cheeseburgers and yeah, actual food. But I stuck with it, and I never really seriously considered going back early, except maybe skipping Merced Peak, but I'm glad I did everything that I did. It has been an amazing trip, and sitting here in my camp on the last night, without any sort of daunting tasks ahead besides just a quick maybe 10-mile hike home, it feels good. I'm going to enjoy resting tonight. Well, good morning. It is about 5:30 a.m. morning of day 5. I woke up before sunrise, couldn't go back to sleep, so I'm just packing my stuff up and I'm eager to go home. I'm very, very tired, but I don't know, I'm allowing myself to feel a little bit of pride for what I accomplished on this trip. I cannot believe how fit I am compared to even just 3 months ago when I did a 4-mile 2,000 foot gain hike with no real weight and was dead after. This trip I averaged 2,000 feet gain per day with a pack on or off trail, and did many miles. I think more than 40, 45 total by the end of it. I'm not sure. Oh, it's quite the dome there. I'm approaching Mount Starking on a beautiful trail. The sun has not quite hit me yet. It's 7:15. In the very distance, you can see one of the peaks that I was near at Ottoway Lakes. That is not Red Peak or Merced Peak, but it seems so far away and high up. There's Mount Starking. I'm making progress. 12.2 to Lower Ottoway, 3.6 to Glacier Point. And look at that over there. That's Half Dome. Also, check this out. That is Merced Peak. I was on top of that yesterday. Look at this. There it is. Wow. I am back to Glacier Point and back to civilization. I hiked about 10 miles today, 2,000 feet down and 1,500 feet up. The last 1,300 feet up from Illilouette Creek. I mean, that just killed me. I was tired before, but I am exhausted now and I'm ready to go home. It was an amazing trip though. Holy cow. I'm very proud of what I accomplished this time. Oh, happy trails.